My mom chose my stepdad over me when he hit me at 14. I became successful and went no contact. 15 years later she showed up at my office crying because he drained her accounts and left her. I had security escort her out. Security dragged my mother out of my office building yesterday while she screamed that I was killing her. I'm 29. I run a software consulting firm that I built from absolutely nothing. When I say nothing, I mean I was homeless at 16 living in my car that I bought with money from working at a gas station since I was 15. My mom remarried when I was 12. Her new husband seemed fine at first, but he had this thing where he'd test me. He'd hide my homework and then call me irresponsible when I couldn't find it. He'd eat my lunch and say I was lying about packing one. Small stuff that made me look bad. It got worse. By 14 he was shoving me into walls when mom wasn't looking. Tripping me. Grabbing my arm hard enough to leave bruises that I had to cover with long sleeves. The day everything changed I was doing dishes. I missed a spot on a pan. He picked up that pan and hit me across the face with it. Split my lip open, knocked out a tooth. Blood everywhere. Mom came running in from the garage. I thought finally she'd see what he really was. She looked at me. Looked at him. He said the kid came at me, I defended myself. And my mom said pack your things. I thought she meant him. I was already crying with relief. She meant me. You've been making trouble since the day we got married. I'm not choosing between you two anymore and I choose my husband. I had a bag packed in 20 minutes. She didn't even look at me when I left. Her husband smirked from the kitchen doorway. I lived in that car for 2 years. Finished high school using the gym showers, doing homework in the library. Got a full scholarship to state school. Worked 3 jobs through college. Built my business from freelance coding work in my dorm room. I changed my number. Moved cities. Went completely no contact. Last week my assistant told me there was a woman in the lobby demanding to see me. Causing a scene. I checked the camera feed and there she was. My mother. She looked rough. Way older than 52. Thin, shaking, crying. I told my assistant to have security remove her. My assistant came back up 10 minutes later looking uncomfortable. She's saying it's an emergency. That she's desperate. She won't leave. I went down there myself. Stupid, I know. She lunged at me the second the elevator opened. Security caught her. Please baby, I need help. He left me. He took everything. I have nothing. The accounts are empty, the house is foreclosed, I'm living in a motel. You're successful now, I heard about your company, please I'm your mother. I felt nothing. Just looked at her. Where was this energy when I was 14 and bleeding on your kitchen floor? He manipulated me. He was abusive. I was scared. You made a choice. You chose him. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. You can't punish me forever. I'm not punishing you. I'm just not rewarding you for being a terrible mother. There's a difference. She started screaming then. That I was heartless. That family helps family. That she gave birth to me so I owed her. I turned to security. Get her out of this building. If she comes back, call the police and have her trespassed. They walked her out while she wailed that I was murdering her, that her blood would be on my hands, that she'd tell everyone what kind of monster I was. My assistant asked if I was okay when I got back upstairs. I said yes. And weirdly, I meant it. But now my phone is blowing up. Distant relatives I haven't heard from in 15 years telling me I'm cruel. That she's desperate. That I should be the bigger person. They didn't offer me a place to sleep when I was 16. None of them. My business partner says I did the right thing, but I should maybe consider if I'll regret this later. I don't think I will. But everyone's acting like I committed some unforgivable sin by not rescuing the woman who threw me away the second it was convenient. Am I really supposed to feel bad here? The voicemail she left was 11 minutes long. I listened to the whole thing in my car after work because I'm apparently a masochist. Most of it was her sobbing, but between the tears she kept saying I was her only hope. That she'd die on the streets. That every door she knocked on got slammed in her face because he'd burned through all their friends' goodwill years ago. She said she hadn't eaten in 2 days. I deleted it and went home. But I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing her face in my lobby, how hollow her cheeks looked. How her clothes hung off her like she'd lost 30 pounds. And I hated myself for even caring. My business partner noticed I was off during our meeting the next morning. He's known me since college, watched me build everything from scratch. He asked if I was still getting harassed. I told him about the voicemail. He said, you know what he did to you, right? You remember? Of course I remembered. I still have a fake tooth. I still flinch when people move too fast near my face. She made her choice, he said. You don't owe her a second of your time, I agreed with him. I meant it when I agreed. 2 days later my assistant told me someone was asking for me at the front desk again. My stomach dropped. But it wasn't her. It was my aunt. My mom's older sister. I hadn't seen her since I was maybe 13. She looked uncomfortable standing there in the lobby. Professional clothes, hair done, like she'd come straight from her own job. I almost turned around and left. But she saw me and her face did this thing, this crumple of recognition that made my chest hurt. I'm not here to guilt you, she said before I could speak. I just needed you to know some things. We sat in one of the conference rooms. She didn't waste time. Your stepfather emptied every account 3 months ago. Took out credit cards in her name, maxed them all out. The house went into foreclosure because he stopped paying the mortgage a year ago and she didn't know until the bank called. He was controlling everything. I felt nothing hearing this. Just cold. That doesn't change what she did to me. I know. My aunt looked at her hands. I called her that night. After you left. I told her she was making a mistake. That she was choosing a man who hit her kid over her actual child. You know what she said? I waited. She said you'd be fine. That you were tough. That he needed her more than you did. The room felt smaller. I should have done more, my aunt said. I should have come and gotten you. I didn't. I'm not here asking you to forgive any of us. I just thought you should know that she's been calling everyone. Your grandparents won't answer. I'm not helping her. Nobody is. Good, I said. My aunt nodded slowly. He hit her too. For years. She's got scars. She could have left. You're right. She could have. We sat there in silence for a minute. There's one more thing, my aunt said. He didn't just leave her broke. He's got a new wife. Married her 4 months ago in another state. Never divorced your mother. She found out from a Facebook post. I almost laughed. The same man my mother chose over me, the man she defended, had been planning his exit strategy while draining her dry. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to understand that I'm not asking you to help her. I'm telling you that the last 15 years destroyed her just as much as they destroyed you. And I think she knows that now. That's not my problem. My aunt stood up. No. It's not. But I needed to say it anyway. She left her number on the conference room table and walked out. I threw it in the trash. But here's the thing that's eating me. I'm not sad. I'm not guilty. I'm angry that everyone thinks her suffering somehow balances the scales. Like because he hurt her too, I should forget that she picked him in the first place. Like her pain earns her redemption. She had 15 years to reach out. To apologize. To check if I was even alive. She only showed up when she needed something. And now people are acting like I'm the villain because I won't fund her retirement for my success, the success I built while she was playing house with the man who knocked my tooth out. My therapist says I need to process this. That anger is fine, but I should examine why I'm this worked up. I'm worked up because suddenly I'm supposed to be grateful that he abused her too. Like that makes us even. It doesn't. She chose him when I was bleeding. Everything that came after was her consequence to live with. So no. I'm not helping. I'm not softening. And I'm definitely not accepting collect calls from the motel she's staying at. But apparently that makes me a monster to half my family tree who couldn't be bothered to check on me when I was homeless. She showed up at my house. I don't know how she got my address. I'm not listed anywhere. My property is under an LLC. But Saturday morning I'm making coffee and my doorbell camera goes off and there she is on my front porch. I watched her through my phone. She looked worse than before. Jacket too thin for the weather, hair unwashed, holding a gas station coffee cup that was probably empty. She rang the bell 4 times. Then she started knocking. I called the police non-emergency line. The operator asked if I felt threatened. I said no, but I wanted her removed from my property. She asked about our relationship. She's my biological mother. I haven't spoken to her in 15 years. She's been told to stay away from me. 2 officers showed up within 20 minutes. I watched the whole thing from my living room window. She tried explaining to them that she just needed to talk to me. That I was her daughter and she was desperate. One of the cops, older guy with gray hair, kept his voice level but firm. He told her this was private property and she needed to leave. She started crying. Not the quiet kind. Full body shaking, hands over her face, loud enough that my neighbor came out to see what was happening. The cop gave her 2 choices. Leave now or get arrested for trespassing. She left. But she sat in her car at the end of my street for 3 hours. I know because I kept checking the camera. Just sitting there in this beat-up sedan that looked like it might not start again if she turned it off. Finally she drove away around noon. I thought that was the end of it. Monday morning my assistant told me I had a visitor in the lobby. My whole body went rigid. If it's her again, call the police immediately. It's not her. It's a man. Says he's your stepfather. I felt my hands go numb. I should have stayed upstairs. I should have had security throw him out. But something in me needed to see him. Needed to look at the man who broke my face and ruined my childhood and apparently destroyed my mother too. He looked old. That was my first thought. He'd be maybe 55 now, but he looked 70. Thin everywhere except his gut. Skin gray and saggy. Bad teeth. You've done well for yourself, he said when he saw me. Like we were old friends catching up. I didn't say anything. Your mother is sleeping in her car. You know that? That's not my problem. She gave you everything. Roof over your head, food, clothes. This is how you repay her? I laughed. Actually laughed. Security took a step closer but I waved them off. You hit me with a pan. You broke my face. And she chose you. You were a mouthy little brat who needed discipline. I was 14. He shrugged. Like it didn't matter. Like I was making a big deal out of nothing. She needs $5,000. That's all. $5,000 and she can get a deposit on an apartment, get back on her feet. Did she send you here? She doesn't know I came. But yeah, I figured you'd help family if I asked. She was too proud to beg properly. Get out of my building. You're really going to let her die on the streets? Your own mother? You stole everything from her. You committed fraud. You're probably still married to her while you've got a new wife somewhere. And you have the balls to come here and ask me for money? His face changed then. Got mean. I remembered that look. I could make things difficult for you. Bad reviews online. Talk to your clients about what kind of person you really are. I pulled out my phone and started recording. Say that again. About threatening my business. He realized his mistake. Started backtracking immediately. Security escorted him out while he yelled about how I'd regret this. How I was just like him, cruel and selfish. How the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I went back upstairs and threw up in my private bathroom. My business partner found me 20 minutes later. I told him everything. We need to document this. File a report. Get ahead of whatever he might do. I filed a police report that afternoon. Showed them the recording. They said I could pursue a restraining order if he contacted me again. But here's the thing that's making me spiral. My mother sent him. I know she says she didn't, but she had to. He wouldn't have known where I worked otherwise. She fed him the information and he came to shake me down. She's using the man who abused both of us to guilt me into helping her. That's where we're at. And my family is still blowing up my phone saying I need to be compassionate. That she's sick, she's desperate, she's got nothing. My therapist asked me what I wanted out of this situation. I said I wanted them to leave me alone. To stop acting like their emergency is my responsibility. She asked if I felt guilty. I said no. She asked if that was true. I didn't answer. Because here's what nobody wants to hear. I don't feel guilty about not helping. I feel guilty that some small part of me wanted to see her suffering. Wanted proof that choosing him over me ruined her life the way being thrown away ruined mine. And now that I have that proof, I don't feel better. I just feel tired. She made her choice 15 years ago. Every single day since then she could have reached out. Could have apologized. Could have checked if I was alive. She didn't. And now she only wants me because I'm useful. That's not love. That's convenience. So no. I'm not helping. I'm not softening. And I'm definitely not funding her escape from consequences she earned. But I'm also installing better security cameras and changing my routine because apparently we're not done yet. My office got vandalized last night. Someone spray-painted child abuser across the front entrance in red. Smashed 2 windows. Poured something that smelled like piss all over the doormat. Security footage caught it all. My stepfather and my mother. Working together. She was the lookout while he did the actual damage. I sat in the police station for 2 hours this morning filing reports and showing them the video. The detective kept asking if I felt safe. If I needed protection. I said I needed them arrested. He said they'd issue warrants but it might take a few days to locate them since my mother's been living out of her car. My business partner was the one who called me at 6 in the morning when building security found it. I could hear the anger in his voice trying to stay professional. This crosses a line. We need to go after them legally. Fully, I agreed. Called my lawyer before I even got dressed. But here's where it gets worse. Somehow, and I still don't know how, they got my client list. My actual client list with company names and contact information. By noon I had 3 clients calling to ask if there was a situation they needed to be aware of. One of them forwarded me an email they'd received. It was from my mother's email address. A whole paragraph about how I abandoned her when she was vulnerable. How I refused to help my own mother who was homeless and starving. How I was vindictive and cruel and they should know what kind of person they were doing business with. She CC'd 15 companies. 15. My assistant spent the entire afternoon doing damage control. Calling clients, explaining the situation, sending them copies of the police reports. Most of them were understanding. A few were sympathetic even. But one dropped us. Said they couldn't work with someone who had this kind of family drama affecting their business. A $60,000 contract. Gone. My lawyer says we can sue for defamation and tortious interference. That we have a solid case. I don't care about solid cases right now. I care that she's actively trying to destroy what I built. The thing that keeps playing in my head is her face on that security footage. She wasn't crying. Wasn't hesitant. She stood there watching him vandalize my building and she looked satisfied. 15 years ago she threw me out to keep him. Now she's working with him to hurt me. My therapist had an emergency session with me this afternoon. She asked what I was feeling. I said nothing. I felt nothing. She said that wasn't true and I knew it. Fine. I felt rage. The kind that makes your hands shake and your vision go narrow. The kind where you imagine doing things you'd never actually do but God it feels good to think about. She asked if I wanted to hurt them back. I said yes. She asked what that would look like. I didn't have an answer. My business partner thinks I should go public. Write a Medium post or something explaining the whole story. Get ahead of whatever narrative she's trying to build. My lawyer says absolutely not. That anything I post can be used against me. My aunt, the one who came to my office before, called me tonight. She'd heard about what happened through the family grapevine. I'm so sorry. I never thought she'd go this far. You told me she was suffering. That she'd been abused too. You made it sound like she was some broken victim. She is broken. But that doesn't excuse this. No. It doesn't. What are you going to do? Whatever I have to. I hung up before she could respond. Here's what nobody seems to understand. I didn't want this. I didn't want her to show up. I didn't want to relive any of this. I built a good life specifically so I wouldn't have to think about them anymore. And now they're forcing their way back in and burning down everything I worked for because I won't fund her retirement from the mess she made. The police said they'd increase patrols near my house and office. That if either of them show up again to call immediately. But I can't live like this. Looking over my shoulder. Wondering what they'll do next. My business partner suggested I take some time off. Go somewhere they can't find me. But that feels like losing. Like letting them win. I rebuilt my entire life from nothing once already. I was homeless at 16 and I survived. I'm not running now. One of my employees, someone I've worked with for 3 years, asked me privately today if the email was true. If I really refused to help my homeless mother. I told her the truth. All of it. The pan, the split lip, the tooth, being thrown out at 14, living in my car. She cried. Actually cried. Said she was sorry for even asking. But the fact that she had to ask means it's working. My mother's campaign is working. She's making me into the villain. The successful daughter who won't help her poor desperate mother. And people will believe it because it's easier to believe than the truth. The truth is messy. The truth requires understanding that sometimes parents destroy their kids and don't deserve forgiveness. But daughter refuses to help homeless mother is simple. It's a clear bad guy. And I'm it. My phone keeps buzzing with messages from relatives I barely remember. Some supportive. Most not. They want to know my side but they've already decided I'm wrong. I'm tired. So tired I can barely think straight. But I'm also done playing defense. Tomorrow I'm meeting with my lawyer to discuss every legal option we have. Defamation, harassment, vandalism, fraud for the credit cards he took out in her name that she never reported. I want them prosecuted for everything. My therapist asked if revenge would make me feel better. I said I don't know. But I'm going to find out. They arrested both of them 4 days ago. My stepfather got picked up first at some motel 2 towns over. My mother was with him. Apparently they'd been staying together the whole time, which answered a lot of questions I hadn't wanted to ask. The charges stacked up fast. Vandalism, harassment, stalking, criminal trespassing. The prosecutor added the fraud charges too after I provided documentation of the credit cards he'd opened in her name. Turns out she had reported it to the credit bureau but never filed a police report. She was protecting him even while he destroyed her. My lawyer called me when the warrants went through. Said they'd both been denied bail because of flight risk and the harassment pattern. They're sitting in county jail waiting for their court dates. I felt nothing when he told me. Just this flat, empty quiet. My business recovered faster than I expected. The client who dropped us came back after seeing the police reports and arrest records. Said they'd made a hasty decision and wanted to continue our contract. I told them no. If they bailed that easily once, they'd do it again. The vandalism got repaired within a week. New windows, new paint, security upgrades. Cost about $12,000 that I'll never get back, but my insurance covered most of it. My assistant asked if I was going to the arraignment. I said no. But I went anyway. Sat in the back of the courtroom in clothes I bought specifically to look successful. Wanted them to see exactly what I'd become without them. My mother looked small in her orange jumpsuit. Hair pulled back, no makeup, hands cuffed. She saw me immediately. Her whole face crumpled. My stepfather didn't look at me once. Just stared straight ahead with this blank expression like none of this was his fault. The judge read the charges. Asked how they pleaded. Their public defender said not guilty to everything. The prosecutor requested they remain in custody. Cited the harassment pattern, the coordinated vandalism, the emails to my clients. Said I was in danger if they were released. The judge agreed. Remanded them both without bail until trial. My mother started crying. These awful, choking sobs that echoed in the courtroom. I got up and left before she could say anything to me. My aunt was waiting outside the courthouse. I don't know how she knew I'd be there. Are you okay? I'm fine. You don't look fine. What do you want me to say? That I feel guilty? That I wish things were different? She didn't answer right away. Just looked at me with this sad, tired expression. I want you to say whatever's true. The truth is I feel relieved. They can't hurt me from jail. That's all I wanted. That's really all? I walked away without answering. My therapist asked me the same question in our session yesterday. What did I feel watching them get arraigned? I said relief. Safety. Vindication. She asked what I didn't feel. I knew what she was looking for. Guilt. Remorse. Some kind of sadness for the relationship we could have had. I don't feel bad for her, I said. She made every single choice that led to this. I didn't put her in jail. She put herself there. Do you believe that? Yes. Completely? I didn't answer. Because here's the thing nobody wants to acknowledge. There's a tiny part of me, so small I barely recognize it, that wonders if I went too far. If pressing charges, if pursuing everything legally, if not just moving and changing my name and disappearing was somehow cruel. But then I remember being 14 with blood in my mouth and my mother telling me to pack my things. I remember living in my car. I remember building everything from nothing while she played house with the man who broke my face. And that tiny part shuts up. The trial is set for 3 months from now. My lawyer says they'll probably take a plea deal. That the evidence is overwhelming and going to trial would be stupid. I told him I want them to go to trial. I want every detail on record. I want a courtroom full of people to hear what they did. He said that's my choice but it means I'll have to testify. That I'll have to sit there while their lawyer tries to make me look vindictive and cruel. I said I can handle it. My business partner asked if this was really worth it. If putting myself through a trial was going to give me what I needed. I don't know what I need anymore. I know what I don't need. I don't need her apology. I don't need her to understand what she did to me. I don't need closure or forgiveness or some tearful reconciliation. I just need her to stop existing in my life. The family calls have slowed down. Most of them saw the arrest records. A few sent apology texts that I deleted without reading. My aunt is the only one still trying. She called last night and I actually answered. I know you don't want to hear this, she said. But she's sick. Mentally. The jail psych eval showed severe depression and PTSD. She's not thinking clearly. She was thinking clearly enough to coordinate vandalism and send emails to my clients. People do desperate things when they're broken. That's not my responsibility to fix. I know. I'm not asking you to fix it. I just want you to know that she's suffering. Good. My aunt went quiet. You don't mean that, she said finally. Yes, I do. She chose him over me when I was a kid. She threw me away. And when she needed something 15 years later, she tried to destroy my life because I wouldn't fund her retirement. So yes. I'm glad she's suffering. I'm glad there are consequences. I hung up before she could respond. My therapist says I need to work through the anger. That carrying this much rage isn't healthy. But I don't feel angry anymore. I feel done. I went to my office rooftop yesterday evening after everyone left. Looked out at the city I built a life in. Thought about the kid I was at 16, sleeping in a car, wondering if I'd make it. I made it. And they can't take that away no matter what they do. The court date is May 15th. I'll be there in the front row. I'll testify if I have to. I'll look her in the eye and tell the truth about everything. And when it's over, when they're sentenced and it's all finally finished, I'm going to delete every contact, block every number, and never think about them again. Someone asked me if I'd feel different if she'd just apologized that first day in my lobby. If she'd said sorry instead of asking for money. Honestly? I don't know. Maybe 15 years ago an apology would have meant something. But she had 15 years to reach out. To check if I was alive. To acknowledge what happened. She didn't. She only showed up when she needed something. And when I said no, she tried to destroy me. That's not love. That's not family. That's just desperation with my name attached to it. So no. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad. I don't wonder if I should have helped. I feel free. For the first time since she showed up in my lobby 2 months ago, I actually feel free. They're in jail. I'm not. That's all the closure I need.